Welcome back to another session of Sincerely Stan, where we talk about things that are important to you. I hope everyone had a good weekend, and I hope that everyone have Christmas and a happy Thanksgiving. I put one before the other. Christmas is really special to me, so maybe that's why my mind went there automatically. All right, let's dig right into it. Today's letter is from a gentleman, and he's self-styled this and named it himself. It's titled "The Diary of a Real Man." Stan. I've always known that men and women didn't not only that men and women not only think but process things differently. I'm 30s who has been dating a woman just under 3 years. In terms of a good female qualities that I consider as a good woman, she's great. Where the disconnect comes is our inability to find common ground on the term a real man. My girlfriend uses this term a lot, all caps. Her and her girlfriend seem to have a lock on the definition of a real man and what they should do in particular situations. There aren't many conversations between us about relationships that the term a real man doesn't come up. Even watching movies, she sometimes evaluates the male character's behavior by telling me how a real man should behave in a TV situation. It happens so much that I'm beginning to detest hearing the term. Since in my mind the definition is broad, it's basically subjective to who's using it. I've asked her why she seems so intent on imposing her definition of a real man on others. The term seems to always have a negative meaning toward men. It's like she has a bad outlook on men, which raises a red flag since I plan on asking her to marry me next year. Uh-oh. Though she doesn't use the term when talking about me specifically, I'm beginning to think she's dropping innuendos hoping I pick up on them. I've asked her on several occasions if she's trying to tell me something concerning our relationship. She says absolutely no each time. She joins social women groups on Facebook that I call the Real Men Squad. They seem infatuated defining and verbalizing the definition of a real man or what a real man is and should do. My girl's viewpoint of men is becoming a concern for me. I'm beginning to wonder if it's not an extension of an unhealthy perspective of men, which can potentially be part of a bigger problem in the future. Am I giving this too much weight, or is this something that needs to be identified, acknowledged, and dealt with before marriage? Your thoughts, my man? Um, I just want to say, man, that anytime that a man opens up and becomes vulnerable and is able to write in about something that some people can consider being overly sensitive about, I applaud you because I think that men should seek the advice of other men. I don't know if on a public forum like this is for everyone, but if it is, and you're just searching for the perspective of someone, I can't imagine why it would be me, but even though I do have this program, I just applaud you, man, for, having, the guts to write in and express your feelings. And I'm going to be honest with you before I even go any further. That term doesn't sit well with me either, because you're right. It does seem to have like negative connotations, and it is sort of an innuendo toward. It never has any good meaning. Um, Usually, when it's that term is used by women, it denotes what a real man is not doing, as opposed to what I've got a real man and this is what he does. So I feel you, in that situation. I've actually had a bit of this on my own. I've encountered this myself, actually, where I've dealt with some friends. Some have been platonic, and there was a couple of girls that I've dated over the years. This is a span of over the years. And this has been a thing. They wanted to tell me, repeatedly what a real man should do in relation to something that I was doing. And so, yeah, I feel you on this. Um, I'm going to say that you've mentioned that this woman has good qualities, and according to your own opinion, it's not the standard. You said according to the qualities that you consider a good woman, she's great, and that's a solid foundation, certainly. The disconnect comes in the term of a real man. and I don't think it's the terms specifically. I think what it you believe that it means to your woman when she uses that term, and maybe her compadres in her social groups or however. Um, you said that she uses that term a lot, and you capped it all out. Her and her girlfriend seem to have a lock on that real man thing. I knew this can be irritating, and to be honest with you, I don't know quite why women do this, because this is now building a man up. If you're constantly trying to, whether it be on social media, amongst your friends, to your husband, wife, boyfriend, or whatever the case may be, boyfriend, husband, certainly not wife. If this is, you're always trying to define, a woman is always trying to define what a real man is in comparison what someone or some action isn't. I don't particularly feel that that's healthy, and I don't know why that is. Is it something that we've done, us as men, and that we're being rightfully accused of, and now the female population is suspicious, excuse me, suspicious of us, and perhaps not giving us a good look, and have this high standard of what a real man is, and we don't meet that bar, so there's constantly barks about what a real man should be doing. I guess so we can pick up on the hints or learn a little something. So I do feel from you from a man's perspective. Is she dropping innuendos and things like that? Man, I don't know, because that would be dependent upon the character of your girl. If she was the type to drop innuendos and want you to pick up hints that way, because innuendos don't have a positive connotation either. So just the term itself. So if that's the word you use and that's what you're thinking, then I would consider, is your thought process right? Are you actually evaluating this correctly, looking at it correctly? And B, if it is, you are in fact looking at it correctly, what do you plan on doing about it? And I guess that's why you're calling in. I can't give you a blanket answer on how you would deal with this, because a lot of this is contingent upon the heart of the person that you're dealing with. You know me, when I'm talking, if anybody listening or looking at this video goes back to any of my other videos, I'm always talking about the heart of an individual, because relationships foundationally are won or lost on the hearts of the individuals that are in question. So if you thought that your girl was the type that she would do that and trying to be, facetious somewhat and say things and drop innuendos on things that she thought were you might be deficient in, and if you pointedly asked her, what is that the case? Are you really trying to tell me something? She tells you pointedly no, and like you said, she says absolutely not. Then I'm sure there's a confusing factor in there, because you're like, well, if that's not the case, why do I always have to hear about, even when we're watching television, about what a real man should do, especially in a fictitious situation like that? So she seems to have some kind of preoccupation, strong preoccupation, with the definition of a real man, which I'm wondering, emotionally, psychologically, and so forth, like you, is this a bigger part of a bigger picture. So I'm not quite exactly sure what to tell you. You said it's a concern for you, and it would be a concern for me too, sir. Just to be honest with you, I think that if we're in any situation and the situation is questionable and it's about something that doesn't quite set right with our heart, and is not settled in our mind, that's not a good basis to go into a marriage. So what I can advise you strongly is that this needs to be dealt with before you guys even, before you get to that point of asking her to marry you. I think that, I know it sounds, to somebody looking at this video, they may say, especially a woman, well, what's the big deal? We're not trying to tell anybody, how to be a real man. They should know how to be one, or we're just talking among ourselves, or what's wrong with having a standard, or whatever the outlook may be. But the thing is, from a man's perspective is, okay, we get that, because we would say, a real woman, a good woman would do this, that, and the other. But for that to be the focus of to be our focus, and equating or evaluating or judging either a partner or people we see or anybody, according to what a person of a higher standard would do. Um, Judging people in that way, that's not quite right, because I'm sure that a lot of we have our own individual shortcomings that a man could say a real woman would do this and not that, what you've done. So, que sera. What I'm saying is that um, deal with this. Deal with this, and so that you guys can get over this hump, have some thorough understanding, like they say out in the street, have some straightening, and you know, get this boiled down because this doesn't sit right with you, and she may not even really know to the extent that you've written in here how much this really affects you. Maybe you haven't just sat down and had, I mean, seriously, a man to woman, grown folk conversation. Like I'm not feeling this. Um, I've asked you questions about it, but because a lot of times what we say, you know, it doesn't line up with what we do. So she may say that there's no problem, or she's not dropping innuendos, but you see differently by just the mechanics of what's going on in the relationship. So I don't know, man. All I can say to you is deal with this. I do applaud you for having, a big enough heart to write in. I really think that you guys, I wish you well and that things will go well in this relationship, because you seem to like this young lady, and I believe that she likes you based on the good things you've said about her. But if this is something that, don't let this be a deal breaker. This is a matter of emotional stability, emotional quotient, emotional IQ. This is a matter of being able to deal with a situation that doesn't sit right with us in our relationship with our mate, but deal with it in a manner that preserves the relationship, but it has some good resolution. Sometimes good resolution is we agree to disagree. Maybe there's some small compromises that can be made where she won't mention this term around you as much, in your earshot. Just give you that due respect, but she can continue to feel the way she does. So there's things that can be done. This is not a deal breaker, so don't go there. But I think it is a matter of concern, because I do feel like if you discover that this is actually a part of a bigger picture, and she does have a bad viewpoint of men or something, that's not a good foundation for, you guys to build your house on. So I'd look into that. Yeah. But that's all I got. As I ask everyone, um, we'd like to hear from you. This is interesting. This is, I believe, a letter that of two people that care and love each other. And there's just, people have idiosyncrasies and things. We all do. And this is just something that needs to be hashed out. You guys need to talk about this specifically, like you should everything, rather than let things build up and then they burst. And really, it's not just about whatever the occurrence is when they burst. It's about that and probably 20 other things that you didn't address earlier in the relationship when they were fresh. So then you can't even remember. You guys get boiled up and people get separated, and that's why the term irreconcilable differences has come about, because we don't even really know what happened because we allowed ourselves to get caught up in a cocoon. So things need to be dealt with as they occur, but they have to be dealt with in the right spirit, with the right heart, at the right time, with the right words and all of this. And no, that's not being a punk and punking out and, bowing down to, because I've thought that, why do I have to, I haven't done anything, but that's not the point. The point is you got the bigger picture. If you really care for this girl and you want to preserve the relationship, this is your opportunity to preserve the relationship with how you deal with this thing. There's going to be instances when it'll be different. She'll have an onus of responsibility to hold the relationship down because of something that's going on. So, this is a give and take, and this is your partner. So, get at it, do what's right, be strong, be a man about it, and write back in or call back in to our Blog Talk radio podcast, Sincerely Stan, ATL, I believe it is. And or you can write back in to Sincerely Stan like you did. You can call in on the podcast, or you can just send me a message out, DM direct, and just let us know what's going on. Follow up, let us know if you guys made it. That would be great, and we love hearing from you. As usual, as always, to my family and my fans and my friends, God loves you, and I do too. Bye.